Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Gas South Convention Center in Duluth, Georgia, it's time for Gwinnett Business Radio. Gwinnett Business Radio is presented by Regions Bank, Brave the Beginning, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Greetings and salutations, loyal listeners of Gwinnett Business Radio. Here on Business RadioX, it is your slightly annoying host, Stephen Julian, welcoming you to another, hopefully one day soon, award-winning edition of, like I said, Gwinnett Business Radio. We're broadcasting from the Subaru of Gwinnett studios inside the beautiful Gas South Convention Center. Now you've heard that twice, so it's really nice. We've got two great guests. Sherwin Levinson is here from MRC-GEM and Kristi Gorinas from Healthy Coverage for Life. We also have Mike producing the show and my wonderful, outshines me all the time co-host, Harper LaBelle.
Happy New Year
Happy
to you.
New Year. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Happy Arbor Day coming up. I
Yes.
want to wish you that.
Flag Day
and-
as well.
Right. And President's Day.
Yes.
Or anything else that
National
we can think
Donut Day, baby carrot sticks for snack day. I mean, there's just so many things.
of. Baby Carrot Stick Day?
If there isn't one, there should be one. That's a great snack. Can you tell I'm trying to eat healthier this year?
Is that a resolution that you made for yourself?
I don't make resolutions.
Stop it.
I make things happen.
So on December 31st, was there something that you woke
I
up?
gorged myself.
Did you? It was your diet day?
No, actually,
isn't there a diet day?
I
There's a
started
diet
before
day.
the New Year's Day.
So the donuts that you mentioned, when do those go back to full calorie, not half calorie, like people told me during the holidays?
I don't know. You know what? Let's talk about that off air, because Mike's going to strangle us if we don't get to really what
we have
people
great
are-
guests today.
We have great
and
guests
they want
today.
donuts.
They do. In fact, somebody said, "Where's the coffee?" I've got mine, and now I'm a little self-conscious about drinking it in front of the guests who don't have coffee. Speaking of which, Sherwin Levinson is here from MRC-GEM. You are the director of MRC-GEM GEM. Sherwin, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, first question. I know you get it all the time. Hey, what is MRC-GEM? What does it mean, and what do you guys do?
Gee, I'm glad you asked that.
Thank you.
Because people say, what is MRC-GEM all the time? We are an all-volunteer organization, and I mean all, no paid staff. So I have to put in a plug because every dollar that's donated to us goes directly to doing what we do, which is help keep people healthy and help keep them alive in some cases. We back up our local public health and emergency management when they're overwhelmed. And we also try to help the people of our community learn to be better prepared.
It's an all-volunteer nonprofit. The mission, augment community health operations, especially and around kind of large and small-scale emergencies,
Yes.
aid response to pressing healthcare needs. Obviously, the most recent one everyone knows is COVID. Instead of just focusing on COVID, what are some of the other examples of the way MRC-GEM has been involved in this East Metro part of Georgia over the, let's say, last decade, 15 years? What are some examples, and maybe even, maybe even some non-emergency situations you guys have been involved in?
Okay, well, for emergency situations, we've been asked to help with hurricane shelters, including sending part of a team all the way out to Columbus during one of the hurricanes where we had a huge hurricane shelter there and a lot of need. We've also been asked on really short notice to help with a few thousand TB tests at Discovery High School when an active TB case was found. And we had to go through all of those people. It actually took 3 whole days because the tests had to be administered over 2 days, and then they had to be read on a timely basis. And then we had a rehearsal for COVID back in 2009 because there was a little-known pandemic, H1N1 flu, and we did some massive vaccination clinics then.
Would you say that the fires in California currently, or a tornado, an earthquake, or those other emergencies where there's a number of people that are in distress, where you are already in place to do something, or do you need to be notified by emergency services? What's the differentiation between being given the authority to do what you're supposed to, either through a governmental or a state body, and you being just smart enough and wise enough to say, we know there's going to be a need here and we're ready for it.
Okay, we will not self-deploy and get in the way of the official emergency management people. We're part of the emergency plans of the county as well as of the GNR Health, our local public health. So they know us, we work with them, we exercise and practice with them, and we know that they'll call us when they need help. Now, that's not to say don't help your neighbors. We teach Stop the Bleed, for example, and all of our people who take the course get a kit with tourniquets and pressure bandages, and I say, look, if you see an accident at the side of the road or somebody just, had an accident with their table saw or something and they're bleeding out, go help them, save a life. Somebody will bleed out in 3 to 5 minutes. And generally speaking, the ambulance won't get there that fast. If you don't help them, who's going to do it?
So definitely a lot of emergency preparedness and being involved when catastrophes hit and when crisis hits, and being able to come alongside the local and national and state authorities that are doing things. Are there any programs that MRC is involved in just kind of on a regularly occurring basis, ways that the volunteers can be involved? Obviously, you want to prepare for the worst, but what are some things, are there any programs ongoing that MRC goes, these are ways we can plug in and help?
Well, we try to keep our volunteers engaged by giving them some kind of relevant training at least once a month. Once every month, sometimes we'll have 2 in a month. And I mentioned Stop the Bleed. We also do CPR training 1 month. We practice a lot for dealing with radiation emergencies. And that's something we talk about low probability, high consequence events. Not likely, but wow, what an impact if it happens. Not to mention that people are scared of radiation. So if we don't train our people when you don't need to be scared, then they won't be available if we need them. And public health is responsible for screening people in a radiation emergency.
Let me ask this too. You've talked about your volunteers already multiple times. Obviously, an organization like this it's critical to have volunteers and constantly be getting new volunteers. These volunteers do not have to have any medical training, or do they? Obviously, if they do, and as a retired nurse or doctor, great opportunity to continue to be involved. But what kind of medical training, if any, do people need to be volunteers?
They need no medical training. We've found that in emergencies, about 2/3 of the jobs that are needed are non-medical. So it's just helping people fill out forms, controlling lines. And if you've been to one of the COVID clinics, you know that there are people lined up. And by the way, people were coming to our COVID clinics from all around the metro area because they heard that we handled things well. People were in and out quickly, and it's true. We have one of the best public health departments in the world. We've had people from as far as Dubai come to observe some of our practices. Public health minister of Dubai.
Good stuff.
Stephen has told me on many times, darn it, Harper, I'm not a doctor. Or I'm a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, right? He'd do a line from Star Trek because...
I like that. Shout out Forrest to Kelly.
Absolutely.
Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a
psychologist.
technician.
Yeah, whatever. What I want, if I were a part of the volunteer staff, would I want to at least make my neighborhood well aware that I may be able to help out in certain instances. There are some medical emergencies that absolutely demand a doctor or an emergency service. There are some that do not. Or the time, as you mentioned, that it takes for an ambulance to actually get to you. And I'm talking about a prescription overdose, or maybe someone falls down and needs an ankle bracelet or something to heal an injury. Is that a portion of what the growth of the ministry that you have in any way, shape, or form? Is that you take care of emergencies for the general public, but what about just some smaller instances, for example, just like a neighborhood?
We encourage our volunteers both to help their neighbors and to help them understand the need to be prepared for emergencies. Like right now, if you look in a lot of people's kitchens, pantries, they won't have any real food there because they're used to using DoorDash or Uber Eats. not to give credit to any particular brands.
Well, that's obviously a trend in our marketplace
but,
now.
Hey, if you don't have enough to last you for 72 hours, you could be in real trouble. And there are other things that we encourage people to understand, like, hey, if you have a water heater, you've probably got 30 or 40 gallons, maybe 50 gallons of fresh water stored in your house. So if there's an emergency and there's some problem, shut the valve going into the water heater, and there's a spout at the bottom.
Interesting. So we're speaking with Sherwin Levinson. He is the director of MRC-GEM, the Medical Reserve Corps of Georgia East Metro. One question I want to ask, a couple of quick hitting questions. Medical Reserve Corps, how many MRCs are there in the state of Georgia? Ooh, I may have stumped him.
You have.
Okay.
I think there are about 20 active units. We have several in the metro area.
So you talk about the volunteers and you talk about the training. If someone were to, in the Georgia East Metro area, want to be a volunteer and start coming, how often is training? Usually once a month?
We're usually once a month.
Okay.
We're trying to ramp that up a little bit. But if you go to MRC-GEM.com, there's lots of information. And if you go to /join, you'll get a form to join up.
A lot of times with volunteer organizations, it can be one of those where obviously you want them to come to every single training and get fully trained and know exactly what to do. But I think sometimes people go, well, that looks like a very interesting topic. I'll go to that, or I can't come to every meeting. As long as you volunteer, you're always available to come to any meeting that you find interesting or are available to come and get more training and learn more to be ready to help, correct?
That's exactly right. I emphasize to people, I ask for only one commitment, and that is that they will try to come when we call them to help. Try.
Yeah.
People have elderly parents, they're taking care of kids, you name it. I figure we need at least 100 times as many volunteers as we might need to come out at any one time, because only 1 out of 100 will be available.
How did you get involved, Sherwin? What was your initial impulse to say, this is something that just fits right in my alley and I'd like to volunteer and to help the other volunteers by leadership?
Okay. We had a tornado back in the late 90s, and my city was not prepared for it. I ended up being the city's first emergency manager, got to meet some of the other emergency people that are involved in the county, heard about the Medical Reserve Corps, and my wife and I were both kind of moved to join. And at the first meeting, they said, you know, this won't really be sustainable unless we make it an independent nonprofit. And I was kind of voluntold that I would be a great guy to make it an independent nonprofit.
They asked people to take a step forward. Everybody took a step back except for you.
Pretty much. Well, I say that my wife pointed to me and said, he'll do it. She swears that isn't how it worked.
Listen, we're not counselors here, so we're not going to get involved in that.
But she's always right.
She is. We've been married over 50 years. Of course, she's always right.
Except for that first decision to say yes to you. All right, so what were some of the first things during that tornado that made you realize we need to have blankets, we need to have water, we need to have tourniquets or bandages, and X, Y, and Z else? And where are we going to store that so that it's available in my community to where it can be distributed as needed? Is that a portion of what you went through personally?
I can't exactly tell you why, but I've always been
You'd have to kill me, right? You could tell me, but you'd have to kill me.
No, it's just, I think they got to me when I was going to school in the 50s and 60s about, you know, the Russians are going to nuke us and what's going to happen. And, you know, apocalyptic novels aren't new. Alas, Babylon is a great manual for surviving, but it was like, oh, yeah, this stuff won't be available. We better have some.
And there are thousands of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, former Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts listening to our episode who are going, well, yeah, it gets ingrained into you, right?
Yeah,
be prepared.
Be prepared,
Yeah,
yes.
That's absolutely. I was going to ask you, apart from donations, how else, is there any other way that MRC is funded?
Yes, we get some federal grants. That's, you know, on and off. We're regularly supported by some of the local organizations. And on our donors page, you'll see who the big donors are. But we appreciate, every single dollar. And because of PayPal, we get every penny through. They have a thing called PayPal Giving Fund, and they pay all of the credit card fees. So you donate $1, we get $1.
Good for them. Good for them. And you are on this show because you network in the business community, and you've had business connections, and you understand. Obviously individual donations are great. It's made of individuals, but local businesses listening, who their people are looking for volunteer hours, they want to give back to the community, whether it's financially or through time. I think we found a new partner that would be happy to and put your money to good use. Maybe not right away, but one day we're going to need it. So how do people join up to be volunteers? How do people get more information? How do they contact, give the website, whatever other contact information you want to give?
Just remember MRC-GEM.com. I've been involved in website design since the web began, so I try to keep things simple. /join, Join, to join, /schedule to see what we're doing, /donate to donate. And the links are all on every page as well.
MRC-GEM, and then you could go to join, donate. Yeah,
Right.
I like it. Sherwin Levinson, Director of MRC-GEM, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
We appreciate having you here. We love having great guests, and we also love what makes a Subaru, and that's love. And you're laughing at me because I'm trying to do
I've missed you, Harper.
a
I've missed
logical segue.
It was
is what
great.
We're gonna do.
It was great.
Well, then you started laughing at me.
I didn't laugh. I smiled.
Damn it, Stephen, I'm a doctor.
All
All right, you
I'm
can
a
enjoy the
podcast
big
host.
savings and a hassle-free experience at Subaru of Gwinnett, where people sell cars. You can visit SubaruofGwinnett.com. You can join their family today to come in and see the Impreza, the Legacy, the Forester, the Outback, or even the BRX. They're beautiful new cars. They also have used or previously enjoyed vehicles. Where would you need to go? 2950 Satellite Boulevard in Duluth. It's just 2 blocks north of the Gwinnett Place Mall. 470-824-3860 is their sales number. You'll love the difference. If you're already a Subaruist, then you can check out their Facebook page for the latest news, offers, and community events.
One of our recurring themes here on Gwinnett Business Radio on Business Radio X is we lock the doors so the guests can't leave. That really applies for the second guest, because after Kristi has been sitting here listening to Harper and I drone on and on, she probably wanted to get out, but she couldn't, so she's
Doors
still
are locked,
here.
Stephen.
So
They're locked.
instead, we're going to let her take the stage and wow everyone with her expert knowledge. So happy to welcome Kristi Gorinas. She is here with Healthy Coverage for Life. She is the owner of that company. Kristi, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Stephen. It's been about 10 years since I've been on the show.
It's been a little while. So everybody can, well, see, now everybody's going to Google your name and Google podcast and listen to that old episode.
I hope so.
Well, yeah.
I don't know where it is.
After they listen
It's
to
too bad
this
nothing's
episode.
happened in the last
Yeah,
decade.
nothing's happened in
It's
the
a
last
shame.
day. So Healthy Coverage for Life, tell everybody about your company and what you do.
Sure. We are a boutique health insurance, life, living benefits, annuities, college funds. We're a boutique agency that really customizes your plan based on your health needs and your budget. We don't just provide, a one-size-fits-all plan for a family or a business. It's a little bit more work than what most brokers do. So again, customized plans for individuals, families, and businesses.
I think I'm going to ask you a question that honestly we could have a 3-hour conversation. We don't have 3 hours, so you have 3 minutes,
Okay.
Or less to answer this question. But I think when people hear that, they go, "Oh, you're a health insurance person," and the answer is yes and no, because the boutique is where I think you want to dig down a little more, because what are the different types of health coverage? What are the different types of insurance? Because there are some that I think people go, "What? I've never heard about that."
Sure. Yes, primarily it's health insurance. It starts with health first and then leads to life insurance and retirement planning and college funds and things like that. But I offer hundreds of different policies, whether it's a major medical plan or through Marketplace. I do not offer sharing plans. That's one of the other kinds of plans that you might have. But I do offer private insurance, and I primarily prefer the private insurance plans like indemnity plans. That's my favorite. Indemnity plans have been around. Actually, they were the very first type of insurance plans that were ever released in the United States. Back in the 40s, during World War II, the government told our companies that they weren't allowed to give salary increases or bonuses, and they had to find a way to retain their employees. So they offered indemnity plans, which were fixed dollar amounts for seeking medical or dental or vision care. And so at that time, they gave you maybe $20 for a doctor visit. And if your doctor only charged $5, well, guess what? That employee put $15 in his or her pocket. So indemnity plans are truly the most traditional plans out there. So I offer major medical and private plans, which include those.
I trust now those indemnity plans pay more than $20.
They do, absolutely.
Okay. All right, very good. So for the person who's listening, what advice would you give? Oh, I've been in this plan for a long time. Oh, I just get it through my company. Give some advice on telling someone what should their best practice be when it comes to their own coverage or health insurance, or because I think a lot of people are thought I'm stuck or there's nothing else for me. So how should they go about kind of looking and getting some information, and how often should they do that?
Well, I do it every year, and sometimes even every 6 months for my own family. And I encourage my own clients to, hey, let's look at your insurance. What kind of health issues do you currently have? Is there something better out there for you? You can change insurance plans anytime throughout the year when you work with an independent agent. Don't feel stuck at your job. Don't feel handcuffed to a job because they offer health insurance. That should really be the least of your worries. There are hundreds of options available. Even if you have health issues, there are options available, and you should compare plans every single year. They change dramatically every year. Marketplace plans change, private insurance plans change, company and group plans change. I did a house call this week with a woman. Her husband has a very, very small company, but a broker offered them major medical plan, and listen to this, it was $4,000 a month plus a deductible for their family. I mean, who can afford that? That is absolutely ridiculous.
$4,000 for just the two of them?
They had a family of 4.
Okay.
Individual, I think it was around $1,500 for an individual. That's crazy. Wow. Don't accept even if you work for a huge company, don't necessarily accept what they have to offer. What I tell families is that the employee of that big company might have a great premium, but adding children and a spouse can add $800 to $1,200, $2,000. That is not good pricing. Have the employee stay on the company plan, but break off the family members and put them on a separate plan. You will save money. Everyone will have better coverage. And that is my suggestion.
Wouldn't it also be part of the negotiation to say, I have my own coverage when I walk in, and you need to pay me more than what you're going to offer because there'll be money that's taken out for health care? Is that a possibility in terms of a conversation? And you have tough conversations, don't you, with people? You need to have tough conversations that people have to be prepared for the thing they never want to be prepared for. But you have that's part of what you do, right, to talk about that.
It is, and I'll tell you what, as a 30-year human resources professional and recruiting, back in the old days, in the 90s and before Y2K, you really could negotiate more with regards to your compensation package. That package included health and dental and life and long-term disability. Nowadays, people are feeling that they're lucky to have that job or to have that salary, and they're not as inclined to then negotiate about premiums for their health insurance. And typically you're not walking in, the companies don't seem to provide premium amounts when they're offering you that job. They're saying, hey, we've got health coverage day 1 or day 60, but they're not saying this is the cost necessarily. I mean, it's a good question when you're taking that job. Great if you can negotiate it. There are people that have that flexibility, but most people don't.
Yeah.
They're just happy to have a job.
Now, for someone who, let's say, is healthy and they don't really need coverage anyways, but they do need some protection in case that invisible catastrophic situation does occur, that they are insured enough for that, there's enough of a conversation to be able to cover somebody to where they get a full amount as opposed to a partial. I know I'm not saying that the correct manner, but
you're referencing really healthy people. They just want a catastrophic plan. It's interesting that if you go to Marketplace, they don't even offer catastrophic plans anymore. And when you find a catastrophic plan, I'll give you an example. I have many doctors on my plans, and they just want catastrophic. They know how the hospitals work. They're happy with a $20,000 deductible, whatever it might be. But that premium for their family is still expensive. $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 with a $20,000 deductible. That's considered a catastrophic plan, but you get no benefits, not a single benefit, maybe a wellness visit, but not a single benefit until that $20,000 deductible is met. I have not found one catastrophic plan that is, $59 a month or $250 a month, and I can look at hundreds of plans. They're not available.
Well, we're talking with Kristi Gorinas. She is the owner of Healthy Coverage for Life. By the way, for those of you playing your Gwinnett Business Radio bingo card, we've had a nuclear war reference, COVID, and Y2K. So we've really done well today.
Didn't I mention fires earlier?
And wildfires.
Wildfires.
Very good. All right, nice. Okay, so the only thing, the only thing left is lizard people, but I don't think we'll get there today. So, Kristi, I want to ask you this question. Our show is listened to by many people, a lot of them business owners.
Yes.
We are Gwinnett Business Radio, after all. So when it comes, and I think, and not to cast blame or anything like that, but the last 15, 20 years of history of being a business owner, there was a major shift when the marketplace started to pop up. And part of the sell of the marketplace was, hey, business owners, you may not have to worry about this anymore. Mm-hmm. But a lot of business owners still, hey, I want to be able to offer this as part of my benefit package. So can small business owners, can any size business owner still offer health insurance without going out of business?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's actually my favorite areas to work with small businesses because they have options. They can actually offer great coverage at no cost to the employer, to the company, as long as they deduct the full premium of the employee's benefit plan from their paycheck. And guess what? That reduces the payroll taxes that the company actually will be responsible for. So I have options for business owners that are lower cost premiums, no deductibles for their employees, and they don't have to pay a penny of that plan. If they go with a typical broker with a major medical plan, the company, no matter the size, is required to pay 50% of that premium. I don't like to offer those plans because they are not cost effective.
Is one of these, so let me spit back to you what I think I heard you say, and you have every right to go, you're dead wrong, Stephen. You're not even close. Let me explain it again. And by the way, it'll all be my fault. None of it will be yours. So if I'm a business owner, if I have a way of finding one of these plans, and is the indemnity plan one of these options?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I choose to so I let all my employees be on this indemnity plan. Now you say as long as it's deducted from their payroll. I would assume if I'm a business owner, I either have to convince everybody to use this or I'm giving everybody a raise, and what it is I'm paying for your indemnity coverage, right? And because you run it through payroll, it gets to be deductible to the business. Is that basically the way it works in a nutshell?
Well, the plans that I offer don't require any, I guess, any group to come on the plan. It could be one person, it could be 10 people. It's just an offering that the business.
So it's similar to a 401k where someone goes, you can be in this or not, and if it is, we'll deduct it out of your payroll. By the way, it reduces your taxable salary.
Correct.
So that's a benefit, just like a 401k, and you get coverage, and we'll help you. And I assume so. Let me get to that other side of the question. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of choices. I think one of the other complaints people have about the insurance and working with health insurance is I just get so lost in the paperwork. Talk about how Healthy Coverage for Life in your company is a little different and really helping people once they make that choice of using the plan.
Sure. A lot of insurance groups, they sell you an insurance plan and they say, thank you very much, good luck. If you've got any questions, call the insurance carrier directly. We're a little bit different. We are a boutique company that thrives on, first-class customer service. We have a team specifically to hold your hand to make sure that you utilize your benefit package to actually get something out of it, not just to have another bill, not another mortgage payment. So we have a team in-house. I have a team, and we have a great corporate team to hold people's hands every step of the way, because my goal is that you don't have out-of-pocket expenses except for your premium, and that is possible with some of our plans. So when I go to small businesses, I say, I'm going to offer you the most cost-effective option, and that might be you have 3 different plans that your group can choose from, because I offer primarily 3 plans that I like, and that will take care of 100% of your employees, whether they're currently going through cancer treatment, whether they've got a lot of pre-existing conditions. I've narrowed it down to 3 plans that will take care of all of your employees. However, you're going to have 3 line items on your ledger. And if you're okay with that, you're going to save tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on premiums, and everybody's going to be have their best coverage at the lowest rates.
Kristi, you mentioned that there are 3 plans that you find that's your normal recommendation to somebody. Do those 3 plans? I have 2 questions. One
Yes.
is, do those 3 plans do they fight like crazy to stay in the 3 because there might be another one that turns out to be better in your knowledge and understanding of it? In other words, plan A, B, and C for last year, but now A and B are still there, but C has been replaced by F. F has moved in because it's a better plan, especially with changes in the administration or in governmental agency type of data that has made it better. Is that a possibility with you?
Absolutely. So I've got my top 2 private insurance plans that I like to work with because I'm very close, even with their executive staff, their claims department. So I have personal relationships with those private plans and know exactly how claims are being paid, exactly how the policies work. And the third option, quite honestly, are marketplace plans for those individuals that have pre-existing high-risk individuals, people that are currently pregnant. And actually, I have a 4th plan for those.
There's more.
There's
I
a
know.
surprise just for listeners of Gwinnett Business Radio. Sorry, go
Well,
ahead.
the 4th plan really is when I find someone, primarily a single parent, a single dad, or a single mom, I provide really expert advice on getting them county and state programs like Medicaid. My daughter, for example, had a baby at 19. She was a single mom. That baby has, special needs. So I not only understand the Medicaid, the pregnancy coverage with Medicaid, how to put a child with special needs, going ABA services. So I really can offer a lot. I mean, I've had clients whose kids get pregnant. We go through that whole process because I've gone through it.
One of the things, so personally, there's reasons for you to offer the benefits that you have to others. Another is, I would think, the education. Every year or classes and changes, like I mentioned, in one administration to another, not from a
Yes.
political or governmental, but just the benefit package themselves, they change. So you're having to stay on top of this in a way that the business owner or a employee doesn't have time for. So talk about how your education benefits those that you end up talking to where you get to express there's 100 different things out there. I've narrowed it down to the 3-4 best. If you like them, I think this would be best for you. Is that basically how it works?
It is. I start with a quote that asks for prescriptions, which tell us a lot about someone's health. And then based on those prescriptions and their health, I give them 1 to 2 options based on what their health need is. And yes, plans do change, especially the marketplace plans, but primarily they change pretty much just in the cost and deductibles and your copay or coinsurance. And those words just confuse the heck out of people. What's a deductible? What's an out-of-pocket maximum? What's copay? What's coinsurance? Yes, we do offer that education. Actually, we're very proud of, and I tell new clients, you're going to get more information from me than you will ever want. I'm going to educate you on how to circumvent the kind of corrupt healthcare system with regards to how insurance companies process claims and also how healthcare providers charge. And so we provide a lot of education so people can, again, circumvent a lot of the high costs or whatever it might be, we always provide legal and honest advice. Everything that we say is based on insurance commission, legalities, and we don't ever advise anyone to do anything unless it's legal to do. Let's say self-pay for a certain incident, a health event like an MRI versus using your insurance card. This is a good tidbit that you can have 10 insurance plans and you're not required by law to use any of them. You are the consumer. You are in charge, not that provider. If that little person at the front desk tells you that it's against the law to self-pay when you've got insurance, that is absolutely 100% inaccurate. You are in charge. You have the option.
So I can't slap that little person at the desk?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't recommend that, right? On record, we're not going to do that.
wouldn't.
However, you have the ability through knowledge and understanding to disagree and say, no, here are my rights, right? And that's part of what you do is you teach
Absolutely.
and educate people.
We do.
To say, this is what we can do. And don't be fooled.
Correct. And on my website, I've got a video section because at one point I was doing about 75% customer service and I was not out there signing people up. And I'm 100% commission. I've got a feed. I've got a big family. There's 8 of us. So I needed to do something different in how I educated and supported my clients. So one of the ways, besides having a team that does personal onboarding and answers questions, one of the ways was to do a lot of videos. I've got about a dozen videos, short 1 to 3 minute videos on my website. One of them is on the emergency room. One of them on chiropractic care. One of them on self-pay. One of them on wellness visits. I've got a 18-minute video for onboarding if you choose not to do the personal onboarding that we offer, which can last up to 2 hours.
Do you have a waterboarding video too? Or do you see, Mike
That's
would
the
want
wrong business.
Oh, I'm
That's the
sorry.
wrong business.
The podcast.
I can add that.
You're in the podcast business, though, so Mike is thinking, all right, well, I love that you're broadcasting and teaching, educating, and
Yes.
informing people of what they would need to know.
Right.
Instead of waiting until they're already at the hospital and they have
Correct.
no idea what to do. And it's a little late then, but you're still available to answer the phones. Maybe not you personally, but there are people there to instruct, to teach, to educate, etc. Correct?
24/7, I get text messages. 1 in the morning, I'm headed to the emergency. What did you suggest I do again?
Yeah.
I've answered those questions. I mean, one guy had a terrible rash, like from something outside, and he was headed to the emergency room. And I said, stop the car. Call telehealth. Give him a video of the rash. It was like 11 o'clock on a Saturday. I said, you're going to be there 6 hours, and it's going to cost probably thousands of dollars. Yeah. So he stopped the car, called the free telehealth number, and he had a prescription within an hour at a 24-hour pharmacy and skipped all of the expenses and the headache and things like that. So yes, we do respond nights and weekends.
And that headache was not caused by the rash. The headache would have been caused by the emergency room.
Probably.
But we are grateful for the emergency room for actual emergencies where they are needed.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. All right, so I've got 2 more references for the bingo card, and then we're going to wrap this up because I was sitting here thinking, Kristi, you're the leader of the A-Team. I mean, if you remember that great show from the 80s, the A-Team went underground, and it was like, and if you can find them, if you have a problem, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team. That great machine gun. Oh, of course I'm Murdoch. Absolutely. You're BA, right? And
someone has to be.
She's Hannibal. So I was thinking, and then the other one for more updated for the millennials, Leverage, the TV show Leverage. You are in the system, and the system can work. The system can help. You just gotta have someone on your side. You just gotta have someone who's gonna teach you the tips and tricks and educate you on how to help. So you take that if you want. Get your team and figure out a nice A-Team spoof video that you can do. But for those people who want to get answers, for those people who want to get a quote, for those people who want to get someone on their side a little more maybe than they have right now, how do they get in touch with you? How do they start working with Healthy Coverage for Life?
Thank you. It is healthycoverageforlife.com. There's a very simple quote button right on that first page for an individual, or you can email me if you've got a company and say, hey, I've got 5 people. I'd like to offer them something. I don't have much money. You don't have to pay a penny. Let's just offer them something. Even if all 5 people get put on free marketplace plans, look, you've offered them a service to assist them. So the company has done their their job.
And they email you at Kristi@healthycoverageforlife.com?
Correct.
And
Kristi.
you say that because it's been spelled 17 different ways.
Correct.
Right. So Kristi@healthycoverageforlife.com, or go to the website and request a quote. Kristi Gorinas, Healthy Coverage for Life, thank you so much for being here
My
today.
pleasure. Thank you.
Man, Harper, we got educated today.
And I know how to spell Kristi
That's
correctly.
right.
Or
Well,
at least one version.
And I think Harper needs new insurance. I can tell by the look on his face.
Absolutely.
He's
was
paying
asking,
too much.
He was.
Is it this time of the year that we need to do that?
You can do it any time with
Any
me.
time of the year?
You can change any time with no reason.
Even twice a year is what you've been
can
telling me you
change.
can do that.
That's correct.
And Kristi,
Yes.
not with the Y, but add the Y in healthy. Don't put health coverage for life or you'll get the wrong website.
That's right.
You want healthy
coverage for life, and not the number 4, FOR. Let's go all the other different ways.
Damn it,
hey,
Jim, I'm a doctor.
I'm a doctor, not an English teacher. All right, Sherwin Levinson, the director of MRC-GEM, Kristi Gorinas, Healthy Coverage for Life. We had 2 great guests today.
Yeah, I
It
have
was
bingo
great.
too. I have bingo.
You did you? Because you went across the free square. So.
Well, when you said you were going to spit some things back to her, that would be a flood, and so I have the flood as the last portion.
Nice, very good.
G52.
So now we begin the last part of the show, and Mike is in the producer chair. So
The
now
music is
it
getting ready to
becomes
start.
How soon until he hits the music? Oh, he's taking the glasses off. How soon until he pulls the microphone to his mouth?
Well, you have to do
see,
our
and he
closeout.
turned
You
it
have to
up.
close us
We
out.
do have to close this out. But actually, the way I have to close this out is I want to thank our guests, which I did that. I thanked Mike, our producer. Harper, I want to thank you for being such a great co-host.
I'm getting a tear in my eye.
You're laughing. Oh, he started it again.
That's like.
He started again.
Did we
He
do our
did it
regions?
again.
Do we have a regions read or anything
No, we don't
else?
have
We've
the show was
done everything
by
we need
regions
to
in the
do,
intro.
except
you
say
didn't
goodbye.
come to the pre-show meeting, so we'll do that later. But we do want to thank Regions for being such a great sponsor. And so, for Harper and for Mike and for our guests, this is Stephen Julian saying we will catch you next time on Gwinnett Business Radio.